everybody, my name is Jenna and today is day 4 of BOOKMAS. Every time I sit down to film one of these videos I get super excited because like Christmas is so soon, but I also get really scared because Christmas is so soon. I cannot believe we're on day 4 of BOOKMAS, which means there are only 8 days left until Christmas. That is actually terrifying. Today's topic for BOOKMAS is the top 4 underrated reads of 2016. So once again, I kind of struggled with this one. I don't really know what you would classify as an underrated read. So I've just kind of gone with 4 books that I read this year that I think personally not a lot of people have read and that more people should definitely be reading them. As always, I'm going to be counting down, so starting with my number 4 and ending on my number 1 pick. Although if any of you have been watching my channel for a while, you can actually probably guess what my number 1 pick is. So let me know in the comment section below what your guess is and if you get it right, because I'm really curious to know how many of you would get it. I mean, it's not hard to guess, really, at all. Coming in at number 4, we have Gathering Blue by Lois Lowry. This book is the sequel to The Giver, but also kind of just a companion novel to The Giver, which was a movie a few years back, which is why I read the first book. Basically, it follows Kira in a different village. She is got like a horribly mutilated leg, so technically she should have been killed at birth, but she wasn't. Her parents spared her, and so she ends up being the, what does she do? She ends up mending a robe, which is really cool, but in this village they don't have the color blue, so it's sort of all about her overcoming, you know, her difficulties, overcoming the fact that people in the community don't like her because of them, and sort of going on from that and also trying to help this community with this whole, you know, blue thing. I really enjoyed this one. I ended up giving it a 5 out of 5 stars. I thought it was fantastic. I loved it, and I know that it's been out for kind of ages, but I still feel like not a lot of people have read these books, so I think that everyone should read them, and that's one of the reasons why I think it's one of my top 4 underrated reads of 2016. Coming in at number 3, we have Our Chemical Hearts by Crystal Sutherland. I don't really want to go too much into the synopsis of this one again, because if you watched yesterday's book note, the day before yesterday's BOOKMAS video, you would have heard me talk about it. But basically this book is about a boy named Henry Page who has never been in love until he meets Grace Town, a new girl at school who is very dirty, she's always unwashed, she walks with a limp, and she wears boys' clothes, and he gets wrapped up in this mystery of her and being in contemporary. The two of them form a kind of romance, and it's just a really lovely, light, fluffy sort of book to read, and it was a lot of fun. I ended up giving it a 3 out of 5 stars, but I know that not a lot of people have read this one, so that is why this one is definitely an underrated read of 2016. Coming in at number 2, we get a book that I am currently reading and have not finished yet. I am 87 pages through it, and I love it so much that I just had to include it in this video, and that is Rebellion by Cass Morgan. This book is the 4th book in the 100 series. Of course, we had no idea we were even getting it until this year. We thought it was just a trilogy, so to have this book in my hands is just, it's just so beautiful. Even better, the trailer for season 4 of the 100 came out today. Wow, that looks amazing, but that's like a whole nother thing that I won't talk about now. I'm just going to talk about the books instead, because the books and the show are completely different. They basically have nothing to do with each other. So in this book we follow Bellamy and Clark, who are on a mission to rescue their friends from a fanatical cult that have kidnapped them and want nothing more than to just destroy everyone living on Earth, because that is what the Earth wills. It's so far in these 86 pages, it's so good. Like, I love it so much, but I know that because of the TV show, I actually know that a lot of people tend to not read these books simply because they are so different to the show. Like, they are not even in the same stratosphere, they are that different, but the books are so good on their own and they are just well worth the read, and that is why this one is definitely one of my top underrated reads for 2016. And now we've come to my number 1 pick, which I'm sure many of you will have guessed is of course Raelia by Lynette Noni. Honestly, I don't think anyone could have not guessed that this was gonna be my top pick for this. Honestly, more people need to read these books. These books are incredible. More people need to read them. Raelia was one of my favorite reads of 2016. I loved it so much. I did a review of this one up on my channel, which I will leave a link to in the description box below if you want to check it out. It was it was the first review that I ever did actually, and through that review I ended up meeting the author and I've been doing some critiquing work for her. So this book kind of started everything for me, and it was so good, but it is so underrated because not enough people read it. I mean, get on this, people! Get on this. I'm not going to go too much into what this book is about, obviously, because it is the sequel to Akane, but I will tell you a little bit about Akane. Basically, the first book is about a girl named Alexandra Jennings who, on her first day at a new school, she walks through a doorway and ends up in the mystical world of Medora. There she meets Jordan and Bear, and she attends Akane Academy while she waits for the headmaster, who is the only one who can get her back home. Basically, it's just a beautiful story. It ends on a cliffhanger. I can't with this book. I'm so happy that I read it, and it is definitely my #1 top underrated book of 2016. So there you go, those are my top 4 underrated reads of 2016. I'll be leaving a link in the description box below to both my Alchemical Hearts book review and my Raylia book review if you want to hear more of my in-depth thoughts on them. I will also be leaving links to the previous Bookmas Day videos, so definitely go and check them out if you haven't already. If you like this video, be sure to give it a huge thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a thing. Stay random. Bye.